A hand on a throne's armrest. You pause before sitting. The question under everything: what keeps respect intact when love wavers? Respect needs structure, not sentiment. People treat loyalty as a mood. You treat it as a design. Aristotle says lasting bonds are formed in virtue and through shared work, not through heat. You feel that difference. Compliments fade, practice endures. In the attention economy, signal becomes currency. Respect rots when the signal lacks a standard. Calm power, not noise, is the aim. You mistake being chosen for being understood. Standards, not their hunger, make you legible. Machiavelli observes that people judge by appearances, so your first duty is coherence. Say less, keep rhythm, carry weight. A ring on the table spins. The blurred face in its mirror asks who is making the rules. Boundaries answer before your mouth moves, anchoring masculine sovereignty without performance. You think loyalty is won in speeches. It's earned in hours aligned with a purpose. Jung would warn that a persona without a self fractures, so align your practice with your principles until your roles match your core. In dating dynamics and in teams, short-term bargains look like loyalty but collapse under worry. Let the mask fall, let the code show. Everyone is watching the pattern, not the promise. You don't win loyalty, you construct it with choices visible to observers. Loyalty, to Aristotle, is not a mood but a structure. He separates bonds by their engine: utility, pleasure, and virtue. Utility trades favors. Pleasure chases delight. Only virtue ties two people to a shared practice aimed at the good. You stop confusing warmth for worth. Character plus time breeds parity. Shared action secures stability. You treat loyalty as craft hours shaped like iron, speech aligned with deed. In that forge, respect takes form, cools, and holds. You want durability. You choose telos. You build what others merely praise. Machiavelli reminds you that outcomes, not oaths, move reputations. People judge appearances because appearances predict risk. You keep faith when it serves the aim, and you signal that your aim is steady. You mistake convenience for commitment. It is merely a truce. On a chessboard, cheap gambits win a piece and lose the game. You anchor rules in advance, announce a few, break none. Predictable firmness becomes legible power. Allies align without pleading. Modern life counterfeits fellowship. Algorithmic tribes offer talk without task. Startups and creator crews harden loyalty through shared builds. In the attention economy, novelty rents affection. Only mission earns respect. You stop asking to be chosen and start choosing the standard. Masculine sovereignty is not volume. It is repeatable action that protects boundaries. Choose partners by the work you can do together, not by glow. If respect survives storms, it's because your bond is to a purpose, not a feeling. You learn to keep the mask smiling while the face beneath starved. Under the pressure of incentives, people paint one another with wishes and wounds. The image wins, the person vanishes. Jung frames projection as unmet contents, flooding the other anima and shadow, mistaken for truth, so you serve a fantasy and call it loyalty. You think attention is affection. It is choreography. In dating dynamics, the costume fits the role you sell, not the life you live. Court favorites rose the same way. Mirror power, trade favors, then fell at the first crisis. You stop confusing glow for ground and start asking what work you can share tomorrow. Lacan warns that desire can orbit the gaze, not the person. Lack hunts lack. You mistake being pursued for being known. Status mirroring feels like closeness because the audience claps. No shared task holds the center. Yes men cushioned kings while decisions rotted. Flattery built a stage that collapsed at first storm. Hostage jobs pay you to stay silent. Algorithm shifts invert allegiances. Overnight, the attention economy rewards novelty and punishes vows. You do not need villains to lose respect. Incentives that prize theater over practice do it. Machiavelli notes that mutual fear binds quickly and breaks quickly. Leverage can freeze behavior, never hearts. People trap compliance with access, money, envy. But the cage rusts on the hinges of trust. The chess win is small, the position is worse. Loyalty survives when two people face the same danger and build toward the same good. You stop polishing optics and start living code. Masculine sovereignty means predictable action under heat. Choose allies by telos, not flattery. Choose work that proves boundaries. When loyalty begins as leverage, respect ends as ransom. You keep waiting for permission, but the mirror keeps handing you responsibility. Under soft incentives, you accept crumbs and call it strategy. Kierkegaard teaches that the self is built by choice. Dodging a decision is still a decision, and maybe a mask that leaks respect. You mistake being kept around for being valued. You grant access without terms, then resent the results. In dating dynamics and at work, people test the walls you advertise. When there are none, they expand. When your time is free, your word becomes cheap. When your standard is clear, masculine sovereignty becomes legible. Jung warns that overusing the persona fractures respect. A man who pleases every room loses the room that matters his own. You paper over emptiness with effort, then wonder why the center won't hold. Individuation requires aligning roles with values until habit becomes quiet steel. Set boundaries that protect the work. Let small frictions surface and sort them out. Some people will label the new limits arrogance, but clarity is a favor. You stop auditioning and start living the code. The mirror stops lying when your calendar and your mouth match. Aristotle would train character through habituation. Repeated acts of choosing the good make those choices automatic. Stoic magistrates resigned rather than break principle. Whistleblowers paid the price to keep their integrity. In the attention economy, applause tempts you to trade craft for comfort, but practice is absolute proof. You schedule deep work, decline fuzzy favors, and reward honesty over flattery. Habit is the forge that hardens stance. If you built the cage, you can design the key. Availability without aim turns warm into dull. You think access equals intimacy. It breeds satiation, not respect. Aristotle would say desire needs measure. Too much nearness floods appetite. Too little starves it. You set boundaries that protect the work and the bond. The empty chair is a throne, not a snub. It marks a center you refuse to trade in dating dynamics and in teams. Rhythm matters. Appear rarely, deliver deeply, leave space. In the attention economy, scarcity is not a trick. It is an ethical guardrail that preserves attention and care. Style is selection. Nietzsche would call every no a line that shapes your presence. You mistake being always online for being dependable. It reads as hunger. You pare back the feed, cancel the performances, and let cadence replace chatter. Chess rewards tempo, not noise. You move, you hold, you watch. You decline low-friction invitations that dilute focus. Masculine sovereignty shows in what you refuse. By subtraction, you become legible. Fewer meetings, fewer pings, more consequence in each appearance. Silence sharpens signal and trust. Faces study the stage, but you anchor the script in practice. Machiavelli would advise controlled appearances to manage expectation, not to posture. You show up on time, not all the time. You replace constant replies with consistent outcomes. People trust the cadence they can plan around. You think closeness equals devotion. Devotion is ordered distance for the sake of the shared aim. Keep the chair, keep the code, keep the pulse. Desire needs edges. Respect needs rules. Solitude is the first tax of standards. You choose quiet over the crowd, and the room reads absence as arrogance. Nietzsche teaches that the creator walks ahead without applause. Recognition trails makers. The forge is narrow. You work where witnesses are few. You mistake noise for momentum. Momentum is repetition under heat. In dating dynamics and in teams, distance from gossip keeps the signal clean. Some people circle like predators around an empty throne, testing if you will trade craft for comfort. Hold position. Masculine sovereignty lives in silence and schedule. Kierkegaard warns that the crowd sedates responsibility by dividing it. You are tempted to sand convictions into a blur, trading the self-self for safety. The abyss you fear is silence, where your voice hardens. You think ridicule proves you are wrong. Often, it proves you are early. Group chats will label boundaries pride because refusal removes leverage. Answer with steadiness, not essays. Individuation means you stop borrowing courage from applause and borrow it from practice. Keep a few promises and keep them all together. Machiavelli notes that reform creates enemies among losers and lukewarm friends among winners. Expect plateaus. Expect doors to close when you refuse politics. In the attention economy, novelty outruns character. Let reputation arrive late. Keep your calendar as a contract with allies. Protect the forge, reduce the stage, and meet attacks with outputs. You think winter means failure. It is logistics compressing your circle to the loyal. Pay the price. Keep the code. Walk the wall. If you can stand the winter, spring arrives with fewer mouths at your table. Write a one-page code for your life and let it govern your roles. Jung says, individuation centers the self-self, so your calendar becomes a forge. Heat, pressure, shape. Morning health, protected sleep, deep work blocks, and undistracted training are non-negotiables, not aesthetics. You mistake accessibility for dependability. Dependable means predictable, not permanent availability. In dating and teams, state terms up front: what you build, what you refuse, how you recover from misses. Masculine sovereignty is clarity under stress, not louder promises. Aristotle would call this habit into virtue. Stable choices practiced until resistance fades. Use chess openings for your week. Script the first 3 moves each day. Then play the middle game with judgment. Stand-ups at fixed times, no meeting blocks, and end-of-day reconciles. Team charters clarify roles, decision rights, and escalation paths. Praise private effort and celebrate public outcomes. In the attention economy, you are tempted to chase alerts. You train signal fidelity instead. You mistake busy for effective. Effective is calm throughput across quarters. Select partnerships where practice, not chemistry, proves alignment. Machiavelli reminds you that predictable firmness builds reputation. Put your code where others can see it. A policy for access, turnaround, and consequences. Enforce lightly, fast, and the same way every time. Reward integrity with proximity. Reward results with leverage. Dates, clients, and peers. Learn your cadence and align with it, or drift away. You stop chasing approval and start screening for values. Keep the throne by keeping terms visible and lived. Once your code is legible, loyalty becomes self-selecting. She is not an audience, she is an ally. You stop performing and start selecting. Aristotle teaches that the highest friendship acts toward the good. So you invite a partner into a shared task that sets the pace. Replace spectacle with rhythm. Weekly meals that anchor home. Check-ins that guard build. Courtesies that compound trust. The throne is not for display, it is a seat of service. Expectations are spoken, and boundaries are visible. You defend them when pressure rises. In dating dynamics, A gesture fades, but a cadence makes respect tangible. You don't ask to be adored, you ask to be trusted in the work. Projection ruins this. Jung explains how anima images blur her face into your wish. The mirror flatters, then lies. You retire the script that kept you charming but unclear, and choose steady rituals, honest updates, explicit promises, quick repair. Invite feedback on the plan, not on your personality. Trust is calibrated by action, show work, keep time, own errors. Many trained by the attention economy choose novelty. You keep the standard. Masculine sovereignty speaks through consistent boundaries and kept word, not volume. Choose a partner based on the work you can do together and the life you can maintain in the weeks ahead. When selection honors the mission, intimacy strengthens the walls. This is a vow, not a tactic. You move from ladder to life by serving a higher aim that orders love, work, and boundaries. Aristotle holds that flourishing is activity in accordance with virtue, so you bind your week to practice, not mood. You stop chasing clout and choose craft. The throne is service, not display. Rules of access protect the work. In the attention economy, novelty shouts, your cadence answers. Respect thickens where vows direct appetites and time. Jung would align the roles around the self-self, the center that coordinates desire without persona. You turn taste into law, morning health, deep work, honest rest. Individuation is logistics you can live under, not an idea you recite. You mistake busy for bound. You choose predictable over constant presence. In dating and teams, promises shrink and daily rituals grow. Masculine sovereignty holds through schedule, repair, and strong, quiet boundaries that protect the build. Nietzsche would call your style the shape of your vow. What you refuse, you become. You cut performances, keep cadence, and let output speak. Craft over clout, oath over mood. Write the code, post the terms, renew them quarterly like a seal in wax. Invite allies to sign by action, not applause. You think words are weight. Weight is repetition. Under heat, pour the metal. Take the throne. Your next move is a signature, not a speech.